Mars, whew, forget it. There's more than 20 missions that have gone to Mars that have, they've orbited around it, they've landed on it, they've wandered all over the surface of it. Again, looking to understand the complete and total evolution of this planet and how it ended up in the state that it's in, and if life ever did start to evolve there, looking for evidence of that. And of course we have Curiosity, who's still up there, who has been drilling and pulverizing material to pull it into the onboard laboratory to study its composition. Eventually it's going to work its way to Mount Sharp, because that is layers of sedimentary rock, which would be a really great place to find evidence of fossils or ancient microbes of where there might have been life, because that's where we find it here on Earth. And Curiosity did take time out to do a selfie before he went into hibernation. And I'm not sure the status right now, if he's active right now or not. It's still an active mission, but I don't know exactly where he is. But there are a lot of missions to Mars, but just concentrate on the ones that have given us knowledge of the water and the processes of water and how it's led to the formations that we see on the surface of the planet. The Voyagers 1 and 2 went through the outer solar system in the late 70s and the late 80s, and Voyager 1, which is now today the technological equivalent of like a $5 calculator, has now traveled for 35 years and more than 18.5 billion miles, and a few months ago actually left the solar system and entered the interstellar medium for the very first time. Yes, it is still a functioning mission and we still get signals from it. It takes about 19 hours to receive a signal. Other than that, the only other mission to go to Jupiter and its moons is the Galileo mission, and the only other mission to go to Saturn and its moons is Cassini. So not a lot of missions to have to study for those two objects. And these are the asteroid and comet encounters. One of particular interest right now is Rosetta, which I believe in 2 months, November, is supposed to actually land on the surface of a comet. And we have the Dawn mission here, which is going to land. I showed you one of the objects this year is Ceres, which is thought to have an asteroid that's supposed to have a lot of water. Dawn is supposed to rendezvous with Ceres in February of 2015. We actually have gone and retrieved materials from comets before. The Stardust mission was launched in 1999, rendezvoused with Comet Viles 2 in 2004, put up its little flycatcher and collected particles that were being emitted near the coma, the center of the comet, and folded the little flycatcher back down into the sample return capsule, returned with a close flyby to Earth in 2006, dropped the sample return capsule with those cometary materials embedded in the aerogel in that flycatcher, and they were extracted in Houston at the Planetary Institute. And it was full of, again, complex hydrocarbons, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, alcohols, glycine, amino acids. Again, further evidence that these materials have been brought to the surface of the Earth by cometary materials. So look at future missions. There is a future mission, the European Space Agency and some of the American organizations also, JPL is involved with this too, that have a planned launch to Europa in 2022, I believe, to study the subsurface hydrology on Europa. And again, hopefully we'll find more direct evidence of what's going on under the surface of Europa to produce those incredible and bizarre terrain that we saw on the surface of the planet. Again, the Chandra website is where you will find the webinars posted. for these events. And again, this is also the same webinar, very similar to the webinar for last year because the content did not change, but I said everything this time I said last time, so you only have to watch one. Go to the AAVSO website for previous events. For the flashcard set is located there for you to download. This PowerPoint is going to be there, posted there. And again, an astronomy picture of the day is a good place to look for images. Other than that, please stick with the websites that are listed in the event description or mentioned in this webinar. You do not have to go anywhere else. Also, the coach's manual, though, if you do not own it already, I would not get it now because it would not be very helpful for planetary science. We may be adding a planetary science section to it soon. Now, I had Tad construct, because this is a brand new topic, very different from anything we've had before, exoplanets. Tad put together a sample state event for you to download and use as a practice test. So that event and the answer key is now available on the AAVSO website for you to download and use. And when you look at it and use it, it will give you an idea of what this year, the 2015 competition event will look like, because it will be very similar. So, but except that this is a state level event and the national one will be a little bit more challenging, but it will give you an idea of what to study for. The event, for those of you that took it, consisted of 6 sets of images, and each set of images had a certain amount of questions related to just those specific images. So here's the first one. Here's the second image set. This one has 57 questions with it. Look, I have used several of these in my presentation. Image set 3, again, this looks very familiar. Image set 4. Image set 5. And this is one of the more interpretive ones, which it lists features, which one was formed first, which one was formed last. And there were a total of 110 questions with these 6 image sets. And again, most of those images I used in the presentation. So you have a resource to use for the 2015 competition. So if you have any, again, rules, clarifications, questions, please go to the National Science Olympiad website and pose your questions there. If you have some specific information you need, you can email Dusty, but remember, we cannot give you any information relating to what you're supposed to be learning yourself. So please do not ask us to tell you the difference between this and that, or this process or that. That's up to you to do. Read the event description, know exactly what you're allowed to bring with you to the event. Use the webinar, the PowerPoint, last year's events to study from, and the flashcard set if you so desire. And if you do all of those things, then you should be very successful and able to compete very well. And I wish you all the best of luck preparing for the 2015 competition, and maybe I will see you in Nebraska.